Hello, welcome to KNGNetwork.com Coaches Show here in Bath County. I'm Philip Smith, and I'm here with Coach Reed Fields and Assistant Coach Aaron Ball. How are you doing today?
Very
looking at last week's game, had a pretty big win. How do you all feel going into next week's game?
Well, we're off a week, so it's great to have a bye week. We play Garrett County, which is a big district game, and you got to ride that momentum. I thought the kids played well, especially defensively. Still got a lot of things we need to work on, so we've been working hard this week in practice.
Any big playmakers you want to go ahead and just acknowledge for what happened on this week's game?
Defensively, coach?
The defensive line dominated. Hayden Schwartz, Daniel Williams, Dustin Robinson, Josh Marks, DJ Darden, Zach Robins. I mean, we just could keep going down the list. Jordan Abrams came in, gave us some good reps. It just seemed like every kid we put in there was very successful. And did what we asked them to do. We gave up 70-some yards total, and 30 of those yards were in the last drive when we were 7 kids out. They had 4 first downs.
Hard to ask for more.
No, you can't ask for much more. And it all started up front. I mean, you know, when your safeties and corners make combined probably 3 or 4 tackles, that's pretty good.
Offensively, we had DJ came in and scored some touchdowns when we got the goal line situation. DJ Darden, Gary Bender got some tough yards between the 20s early when they were keying him. Zach Horton, first varsity start, he did a really good job of managing the game. He completed 3 on 5 passes. Kern Stroud had some great runs, one I think 50-yard touchdown run. So, and that all starts up front as well. You got to give credit to the line. They don't get a lot of accolades and credit, but we know what they're doing. Anybody knows football knows that if we don't have a good line, we don't win football games.
I know we had a switch of a quarterback last game. How do you think that affected the outcome of the game?
I thought Zach did a great job. It wasn't by plan. It wasn't anything Clark did wrong. He just couldn't go because of a concussion the week before, and he prepares every day in practice. He's smart. He loves the game, and he didn't do anything to hurt us. And he managed the game well. He completed passes when we had to, and that's what you expect of a backup quarterback. His time's coming down the road. I think if he keeps working on it.
We do anything special? I know we've got a little time to prepare now. We get anything special we're doing in practice to prepare for our next game?
For Garrett County, well, right now this week, we've watched them and we've got the kids watch them, but we're putting plans together on that. We've been focusing on what we need to work on as a team before we worry about what they're doing. But we got, there's some small details we got to fix, and there's some loose ends we got to tie up there and get people exactly where they need to be. And fundamentals, footwork on the line, that's key on every play. And we had some bad footwork last week on certain situations where we could have broken runs for even more yardage than we could have, or we could have freed somebody. Defensively, same thing. Angles, I thought we tackled better in the open field last week. And, Coach Ball and Coach Crouch, a lot of the drills they're doing on defense, I think we can attribute to that because we're taking better angles now to tackles and our pursuit's better angles. So just always something to work on and improve. And we feel like we shouldn't be 2-2 right now. We should be 3-1 or 4-0. But those are behind us now, and we've got our most important part of the schedule district coming up, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Looking at defense, football, what do you see we're improving on as the season goes on?
It's just the discipline factor. You can tell that they start to understand. Playing fast and playing hard are only good if you do it in the correct direction. And I thought against Fleming County, our kids were flying around, playing so daggone hard, but it wasn't always in the right manner. And, if you tone that down to where you're playing hard, but you're also playing under control, you're playing with leverage, you're playing with the correct spacing, the correct hand placement, things of that nature, things that are so small, and people in the stands of the games don't even recognize what we're looking for. But the kids are starting to pick up on how important those little tiny things, just being able to read a key correctly and react to that key correctly. And things like that. I thought our linebacker play has gone from a question mark to almost being stellar. The 2 games that we won, Griffin Bradley has had just amazing games. Lewis County, they ran away from him. If that tells you, And then last week, it was just like a hole open, and he closed it. Jared Richards, a hole open, he closed it. And it was that fast. And that's where, if they learn to play, this is my space, this is my gap, this is my area, they'll be so much better as football players. Because if you notice, the good football teams when they play defense, they're not ever tired when they come off the field because they don't run all over the field. They make the plays they're supposed to play in the 2 or 3 gaps that they're supposed to control. And if our kids can learn to do that, we'll be a much better football team. We look like after these car games we could play 2 more football games. I thought that's how fresh we looked. It didn't look like anybody was tired, anybody was winded. It was just, okay, let's keep going. We're okay.
A lot of that's having that depth we talked about earlier in the
True.
show. We had one kid going both ways, and that's not a lot of teams our size are able to do that. So I think that's going to pay off down the road, especially later in the season when teams start getting injuries. And if you got a second string guy in there going both ways, especially, that's going to make a difference. But talk about the defense as well. I thought our defensive backfield played super
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
We had an interception last week. We had 2 in the previous week, so they're starting to play. They're starting to come up and play the run well. Also, both corners, our safety, you got Logan Daly starting in the corner out there.
Yeah, Logan.
Jared Castle and Jason Little.
Yeah.
He had 2 interceptions the week before at Lewis, and then had some big plays on defense this game as well. So
The thing about like a kid like Jason amazes you coming from the free safety spot. He beat our weak side linebacker, not Griffin or not or Jared. They both played really well in front. Timmy Roberts was our weak side linebacker. He had a lot more responsibilities in the passing game, so he wasn't able to come up as fast as Griffin and Jared were. But there were a couple times when Jason, from about 4 yards deeper than Timmy, beat him to the ball carrier. And it was something we could kid Timmy about in film. But it's also the fact that Jason has a better angle of the play. He sees what's happening a little bit quicker. But he's also very aggressive when he comes up. He's going to get there and he's going to put a hand on somebody. And I was really impressed with how hard he came up and how easily he filled those gaps. But in turn, I was also impressed that one time they ran a vertical route on us to the side we knew we were going to get a vertical route from, that we were in perfect position. They completed the pass. It was about a 25-yard game, but we were in perfect position. We should have picked it off. Jared Castle and Jason Little both went up for the ball. Kid makes a great play. But we're there. And I think that's something that we lacked early on, is that we weren't there. We were trailing. We
we were either going to commit to the run or we played the pass. We couldn't read
and
and
now
play
it
both.
was like we did everything that we were asking to do pretty well. So good turnaround.
Looking, I know the size of the team, a lot of our players have to learn to play a lot of different positions in practice and to know exactly where they need to be. Any big changes coming forward that we've seen in practice? We move anything around?
Personnel-wise.
Personnel-wise?
We're still searching for a punter, to be honest with you. Michael's had some good punts. I think Timmy's had some good punts, and they both had a lot of so-so punts and some bad punts. So we're still looking there. That's an area that special teams is, as far as the punting game goes, we can't have 20-yard punts. We've got to get 35 average on that 30 to 35-yard average, because our defense no matter how solid it is. From the week before, I keep jumping back to Lewis County game, but they started several times on our 30 or inside of our 30. We can't ask our defense to do that. So when we don't convert a first down, we have to be able to punt that ball, at least get 30, 35 yards on it. So we're searching there, and that's a work in progress. Again, brag on Sean Harris. He's still perfect on extra points. Get 4 in a row the other night in rainy conditions. So he's a great kicker. He's doing a great job. We kicked it deep a little more this week. I thought special teams would still adjust, like I say, trying to tie down.
Got a turnover on it too.
Got a turnover on special teams, had a forced fumble. So we're clicking pretty good right now. We just have to do the little things to compete on the level we want to.
I think the great thing about our kids is that we have a lot of interchangeable pieces. We've got a lot of similar body styles, and I think as coaches, that's what we look for. I don't think that we're ever going to take a lineman and ask them to do something they can't do. And so we pretty much know that, okay, we've got 15 kids that play the defensive and offensive line. When they're over here, we can interchange them from a weak nose to a strong nose to a regular nose. We can play a shade, we can play head, because in reality, what you're doing is you're just playing a technique. You're being responsible for a gap. You're being responsible for an angle. Okay? Where we like to try and make adjustments is with our kids that are more athletic, kids that play with their hands off the ground. We have the ability to take a kid like Chase Ham, who's 6'4", and 200-pound kid, but runs fantastic for a tight end, and we can flex him out a little bit in the offensive game. We move him away from the line of scrimmage, and we can get him where he's a hard matchup for somebody. Whereas sometimes when he gets in the down stance and puts his hand on the ground, some kids can take advantage of the fact that he is 6'4", 200 pounds, because that's a big target, and it's a lanky target. You know, it's not like Chase is packing a lot of muscle. Nothing against Chase. I mean, that's not his game. He's a receiving tight end, but he blocks well. But we're able to move him around. Kids like DJ and Kern and Hayden and Jared Richards and Griffin, those kids are almost interchangeable in our eyes, and it's just where we need them the most week to week, offensively and defensively. Yeah, Hayden's been
Hayden had some huge runs last week.
Hayden's been
Hayden's
on the offensive line, the defensive line, at linebacker, and at fullback. So, you know, that's the kind of kid. You know, DJ has played with his hand on the ground on defense and with his hand off the ground. He's been a fullback. He's been a tailback for us offensively. You know, Joe Sneddier's the type of kid. He plays tight end on the linebacker, but we could also very easily flex Joe out and put him in the slot. We could take Joe and put him in fullback because I guarantee he knows the play. You know,
and I think that's from a lot of chalkboards.
Yeah, it is.
In the offseason, those guys were committed to learning every position. You know, we tried to ask them that, tried to quiz them on what the receivers know what the line's supposed to do because, you know, it's only fair to learn that.
It's one thing I've learned about Bath County football. It's not all out there on the field. You all do so much more with your off season, with your training, with your weight room, with your watching your films. It's a lot more mental here. They understand that it's not just out there.
Well, you know, we haven't always stressed that, and I've learned as a coach. I'm trying to, and I think Coach is the same way, and Coach Krause, which we can speak for him as well. We're trying to get these kids prepared to play at the next level because we want to send as many kids there as we can. That's our goal. And you know, to learn a complicated scheme, yeah, it's tough to do. But if they've got that, they're going to have to learn in college, and to be that disciplined, dedicated, they're going to be that much farther ahead than most of the kids that go. And when a college coach sees that on film, look, just example, say Clark's quarterback, he's checking down here, or he made this read, or you know, he ran an option around here and he made the right decision, not as far as a tight end or a receiver or back. I mean, those are the kind of things they're looking for, and that's our job, really, as coaches, to get those kids in a position to play at the next level if they can. Don't you think?
Yeah, we just try and put them in positions in practice that challenge them in practice. Like Coach Fields and Coach Krause, man, they challenge them daily while they were weightlifting and while they were in preseason. I would walk in, you know, because I'm driving from Grayson, and you know, I get in at the tail end of weightlifting, and they would be challenging those kids with board talk. You know, Andy would be up there giving them scenarios about how do we adjust to this formation. I mean, that's deep stuff that you're dealing with in July.
Could I have your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen?
All right, so wrapping up, coaches, just like I said, we got a little bit of time here to practice for our next game. Anything big we're going to have to work on? You said we're going to have to make sure defense gets everything lined out. And is Clark going to be back in the next game?
Yeah, he'll be back ready to go. He's looking forward to it. I think it was good for him the other night getting to watch that game from the side, just seeing what we're trying to do. And he was a coach on the sideline for us there, and even interjecting some of the things he thought we should run, and it didn't always work because I kind of closed him off at the
The boys' golf team is released at this time.
You know, offensively, this week,
Shelby Scarborough, please report to the front office.
to match their intensity. They're a very physical team. Gary County's a physical team. They're good at all positions. We've got to match their intensity and physicalness. They're going to be physical, and it's a road trip for us. We haven't played us ever. We haven't played them ever. They haven't seen us ever.
Macon Calvert, report to Ms. Porter's office, please. Macon Calvert, please come to Ms. Porter's
Yeah, you know,
office.
we see some things that we think we can exploit. You know, they're not an unbeatable team, I don't think, by any stretch of imagination. But we're going to have to play a really good game.
I think they remind us a lot of Fairview, and we matched up well with Fairview in the grid. They're big and physical. They're probably a little bit more experienced across the board than Fairview, maybe a little more speed on the edge as far as receivers go. But you know, we're going to be okay. We got to believe in what we're doing and go out and execute. Get a lot better this week by taking care of the small details.
Go ahead and thank you guys for being on the show today.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I'd like to go ahead and also thank our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by the insurance group here in Bath County, and also St. Joseph Mount Sterling, closest hospital here to where you can get everything taken care of. KNGNetwork.com. And today's show is also brought to you by the Owensville Banking Company. Thank you, and you have a great day.